Welcome to The Explainer. We're about to tackle one of the greatest mysteries on the planet. I'm talking, of course, about that iconic 5,000-year-old circle of stones sitting on a windswept plain in England, Stonehenge.
You know, for millennia, this place has kept its secrets locked up tight. People have called it everything: a temple, a cemetery, a giant calendar, even a center for ancient healing. But what's the real story? How do we even begin to sort out the facts from all the fiction? Well, today, that's exactly what we're going to do. We're diving deep into the story of Stonehenge, from its legendary beginnings all the way to the controversies swirling around it right now.
Okay, so before we had carbon dating and geochemistry, how did people make sense of this colossal monument? Well, they told stories. And we're not talking about simple little fables here. We're talking epic legends, full of magic, incredible power, and, supernatural forces. I mean, check out this folktale. The devil himself apparently bought the stones in Ireland and just plopped them down on Salisbury Plain. A slightly more famous story, written down way back in the 12th century, credits the wizard Merlin with magically zapping a whole stone circle from Ireland over to Britain to serve as a war memorial. So you've got wizards, devils, the explanations were pretty out there.
Okay, so, wizards and devils. Probably not. We can safely put those theories to bed. But archaeologists started to notice something really interesting. See, hidden inside these wild stories was one consistent detail: this idea that the stones weren't local, that they came from somewhere far, far away. So they started asking, what if that part of the legend, what if that was actually true?
And this is where it gets absolutely fascinating. Science steps in, and it turns out the legends were right. Well, kind of. Using geochemical analysis, scientists proved the smaller Bluestones weren't from Ireland, but they were from the Preseli Hills in Wales. So Merlin didn't move them, and they weren't from Ireland. But that core idea, that ancient folk memory of these stones being hauled from a distant land, it was spot on. How amazing is that?
So knowing the stones came from Wales was a game changer. It basically launched one of the greatest archaeological detective stories ever. The big questions became, how in the world did prehistoric people get them all the way to Stonehenge? And maybe even more importantly, why would they bother?
I really want you to stop and think about this for a second. We're talking about a journey of 275 kilometers. That's about 170 miles. And this was 5,000 years ago. These people had no wheels, no iron tools, no horses or oxen to pull things. Yet somehow, they managed to quarry and drag dozens of these massive stones, some weighing up to 4 tons, across land and sea. It is just a mind-boggling feat of engineering and pure human will.
And here's another thing. Stonehenge wasn't built in a weekend. It wasn't even one single project. As you can see here, this place was a work in progress for over 1,500 years. It was built and then rebuilt by different groups of people over time. It started out as a simple ditch and bank with some Bluestones marking burials. It was only later, around 2500 BCE, that those iconic, gigantic Sarsen stones were put up, probably by a new group of people who had arrived from mainland Europe, the so-called beaker people who brought all sorts of new ideas and technologies with them.
But you know what's really wild? The biggest breakthrough in this entire mystery wasn't found at Stonehenge itself. Nope. It was discovered hundreds of kilometers away, back in the Preseli Hills of Wales, at a specific spot called Wan Mon.
What they found there, it's just unbelievable. Seriously, they found a series of empty stone holes. And when they mapped them out, they realized these holes formed a circle with the exact same diameter as the very first Bluestone circle at Stonehenge. And get this, it also had the exact same alignment to the midsummer solstice sunrise. The conclusion is just staggering. Wan Mon was the original Stonehenge. It seems an entire community dismantled their most sacred monument, stone by stone, and moved it with them when they migrated.
So, this amazing discovery doesn't just tell us where the stones came from, it helps us get closer to the biggest question of all: why? What was this place even for? And the leading theory right now is that Stonehenge wasn't just a monument on its own, it was one half of a massive ceremonial landscape.
So check this out. Just a short walk away, you had this place called Durrington Walls. It was a huge settlement, and archaeologists have found evidence of massive parties and feasts there. The theory from archaeologist Mike Parker Pearson is that this was the land of the living. It was built from wood, which rots away, just like life. And then, connected by a river, you have Stonehenge, the land of the dead. It's built from stone, which is eternal. It's a place for burials, for ancestors. The two places are like mirror images of each other, even down to their solar alignments, one to the sunrise, the other to the sunset. It's a beautiful, powerful idea.
And the evidence for this theory is just mounting. When they analyzed the cremated remains of people buried right there at Stonehenge, guess what they found? They weren't local folks. A huge chunk of them, 40%, came from the exact same area in Wales where the Bluestones were quarried. This just paints an incredible picture. Stonehenge wasn't just for one tribe. It was a place of pilgrimage, a great unifier, a cemetery for important people from all across Britain who came together to honor their ancestors.
You might think the story ends there, in the ancient past. But it doesn't. The story of Stonehenge is still being written. And right now, this ancient wonder is facing a very, very modern threat. It's a classic battle, really. Preservation versus progress.
Yeah, you heard that right. After surviving for 5,000 years, the biggest threat to Stonehenge today isn't erosion or time, it's traffic. A major road, the A303, cuts right through the heart of this sacred landscape. The constant noise, the vibration, it's like a gaping wound, literally severing the stone circle from other important parts of the ancient site. It just drowns out the very atmosphere that makes this place so special.
So what's the solution? Well, the official plan is to build a massive, multi-billion-pound tunnel to divert the road underground. And at first glance, it sounds perfect, right? Get rid of the traffic noise, stitch the landscape back together, restore the magic. The problem is, the plan itself has sparked a huge, bitter fight.
And you can see how strongly people feel about it from this quote. Historian Tom Holland calls it an act of unbelievable vandalism. See, the opponents aren't against getting rid of the road, but they're furious about how it's being done. They argue that digging massive entrances for the tunnel, especially right next to a major Bronze Age cemetery, will destroy priceless, undiscovered archaeology forever. For them, it's not a solution. It's trading one problem for an even worse one.
And that leaves us right here, at the crossroads of the past and the future. The mystery of Stonehenge is still unfolding, and it forces us to confront this really tough question. As we keep digging for answers about its ancient past, how do we make the right choices to protect its future? After 5,000 years, the biggest challenge Stonehenge faces might just be us.